Hi all, welcome to our Allied Legdom channel. In this video, we are gonna see about ulnar bone. So let's get into the video. The ulnar bone is the medial bone of the forearm and is one of the two bones that make up the forearm, and other being the radius, and it forms the elbow joint with the humerus and also articulates with the radius both proximally and distally. It is the larger of the two forearm bone, that is ulnar bone is larger than that of the radius bone, and ulnar bone is homologous with the fibula of the lower limb. And the parts of the ulna is being divided into three, namely upper end, shaft, and lower end. Next, we'll see the side determination of ulnar bone. The upper end is hook-like with its concavity directed forward, whereas the lateral border of the shaft is sharp and crest-like, whereas the pointed styloid process lies posterior-medial to the rounded head of the ulna at its lower end. In simple, of the side determination is the expanded irregular hook-like end should be directed upwards, whereas the concavity of the trochlear notch should be faced anteriorly, whereas the sharp interosseous border should be directed laterally. And what is the anatomical position that the bone should be hold? That is, ulnar should be holded vertically so that the trochlear notch faces anteriorly and the sharp interosseous border laterally, and the round head of the ulna is directed inferiorly. Next, the parts or the features of the ulnar bone is upper end, shaft, and the lower end. That is, in structure of the ulnar bone, first we'll know that ulnar is a long bone, large proximally than distally. In upper end is expanded, irregular, hook-like, and presents a notch, that is the trochlear notch, which faces anterior. Whereas in shaft there are three borders and three surfaces. In borders they are anterior, interosseous, and posterior, whereas in surfaces anterior, medial, and posterior. In case of lower end, as a small round head and a bony projection from posterior medial aspect called styloid process. First, we'll see about upper end. Upper end is the proximal end of the ulna which articulates with the trochlea of the humerus to enable the movement at the elbow joint. In upper end, we'll see some kind of terminologies like olecranon process, coronoid process, trochlear notch, radial notch, and tuberosity of the ulna, which we'll see in detail. The first comes the olecranon process. It's nothing but it forms the upper part of the semilunar notch, which is a smooth, large depression and articulates with the humeral trochlea during elbow flexion and extension. It is large, curved bony prominence which is accepted into the olecranon fossa, which is located on the humerus during elbow extension. The large projection of the bone that extends proximally, forming a part of trochlear notch, it can be palpated at the tip of the elbow. That is, while we are doing an elbow extension, by placing the hand at the elbow, we could feel a notch-like structure which is being known as trochlear notch, which is being formed with the help of olecranon process. The tricep brachii muscles attaches to the superior surface. So in this image, we could see it is an upper part of the semilunar notch, and while touching it is very smooth, and we have a large depression, that is a groove-like appearance. Next come the coronoid process. It's an horizontal bony projection which attaches directly onto the ulnar shaft. It received into the coronoid fossa of the humerus in elbow flexion. On the lateral side of the coronoid process is the radial notch where the head of the radius sits. The superior surface forms the lower part of the trochlear notch, whereas the anterior surface is triangular and rough, whereas the upper part of its lateral surface is marked by the radial notch for the head of the radius, and medial surface is continuous with the medial surface of the shaft. Next is the trochlear notch, which is being formed by olecranon and coronoid process, and it articulates with the trochlea of the humerus. Next is radial notch, which is located on the lateral surface of the trochlear notch. This area articulates with the head of the radius. Next is the tuberosity of the ulna, which is roughening and immediately distal to the coronoid process. Next is the second part of the ulnar bone is shaft. It is a triangular in shape that has 3 borders and 3 surfaces. The 3 surfaces are anterior, posterior and medial. Anterior, the site of attachment for the pronator quadratus muscle distally, whereas the posterior is the site of attachment for many muscles, whereas medial is unremarkable. The borders, namely posterior, interosseous and anterior. Posterior is palpable along the entire length of the forearm posteriorly, whereas interosseous is the site attachment for the interosseous membrane, which spans the distance between the 2 forearm bones. Next is anterior, unremarkable. Last comes the lower end. In lower end is made up of the head and the styloid process. The head of the ulna is lateral. Distal end of the ulna is head of the ulna. It articulates with the ulnar notch on radius and with the triangular articular disc in the wrist joint, whereas the styloid process is a medial eminence of bone that provides a surface for the ulnar carpal medial collateral ligament. So the features of the ulnar bones are nothing but upper end, shaft and the lower end. Next, we'll see the muscle attachment. In olecranon process, the important muscles are triceps, anconeus, flexor carpi ulnaris, whereas in coronoid process, they are brachialis, pronata teres and flexor digitorum superficialis, whereas the shaft of ulna are flexor digitorum profundus, pronator quadratus, extensor carpi ulnaris, abductor pollis longus, extensor pollis longus and extensor indicis. So, as we could see in these images, the important muscle attachments seen with the ulnar bones are tricep, anconeus, supinator, abductor pollis longus, extensor pollis longus, and extensor indicis. Whereas flexor digitorum profundus, pronator quadratus, flexor digitorum superficialis and pronator teres is also the muscles attachments seen in the ulnar bone. Next, what are the clinical anatomy within relevant to the ulnar bone? Always, as we have seen, the bones are being in the risk of fracture. So, the first comes the ulnar fracture, typically occur as a result of fragility and normally following a fall, such as fall on an outstretched hand. Next is the Monteggia fracture, where the fracture occurs proximally 1/3 of ulnar shaft accompanied by the dislocation of the radial head. Next are Hume fracture and Galeazzi fracture. The next condition is osteoarthritis. As the age goes on, due to its fragility and low amount of calcium deficiency, it may lead to a condition namely osteoarthritis. So we have come to an end of this video. So let's do a recap of it. As we know, ulnar is the medial bone of the forearm and is homologous with the fibula of the lower limb, and it has an upper end, shaft and lower end. In upper end, we saw about olecranon process, coronoid process, trochlear notch, radial notch and tuberosity of the ulna. In shaft, we saw it's a triangular shape with 3 borders and 3 surfaces. In lower end, we saw the head of the ulna and styloid process, whereas in attachment, the important muscles like triceps, brachialis, extensor carpi ulnaris, abductor pollis longus and extensor indicis. Next, in clinical anatomy, ulnar fractures and osteoarthritis. I hope you understand and got a clear idea about ulnar bone. Thank you.